Hello everyone, my name is Moji. You're watching a Bitcoin Bubble News channel. There is no chance that the US government will ban Bitcoin. In fact, the US government will need Bitcoin. This is because both sides agree that Bitcoin is safe. Let's go. But also keep in mind that, if you had to pick one group of people with too much power in this country, it would be those who work in Wall Street traditional banks. And now you have something that can help them make a lot of money. So companies like BlackRock, Fidelity, Franklin Templeton, and others are thinking, wait a minute, we like this stuff, right? There's a chance for us to make money here. We have faith in the tech. We're going to go back it up. At the start of the year, people were very optimistic about the crypto bull market of 2024 to 2025. This was especially true after the US Securities and Exchange Commission allowed a number of spot Bitcoin exchange traded funds EPS. When Bitcoin hit new all-time highs in March, more than a month before the regular half event, people were even more excited. This was a very bullish event because Bitcoin had always hit new all-time highs after splitting in the past. Since then, though, the excitement has died down, and the prices of crypto assets have stayed in the same trade range. A lot of people are still hopeful, though. Anthony Pamplino, a famous YouTuber and host of the podcast Pomp, says that the current price changes are normal for this stage of the bull market. This is made worse by the fact that the US economy is in bad shape and the Federal Reserve's hawkish stance is likely to make things even worse for at least another month. Pomp recently talked with Michael McSweeney of Kairos Ventures. He said that assets like Bitcoin don't do as well when people think that the Fed isn't going to cut rates as often or as badly as they thought. There's also the fact that it's summer and summers tend to go in circles. From January to about May, prices change very quickly during these times. Most of the time, summer is flat, and then near the end of Q3 and beginning of Q4. During bull markets, these kinds of huge steep moves happen again. Pomp is looking forward to 3 events that he thinks will happen later this year and have an instant effect on the prices of Bitcoin and other crypto assets. More institutional interest in spot Bitcoin ETF is the first thing that sets it off. This is especially true when big national wirehouses allow BlackRock's, elliott, and other US spot Bitcoin ETF to be listed on their platforms. Pomp thinks that when this happens, even sovereign wealth funds in countries will start to buy in the spot Bitcoin ETF and the cryptocurrency itself. He also says that the US election could be a trigger, especially if a president who supports crypto is chosen. The final event that sets it off is when the Fed and other major central banks around the world announce that they are lowering interest rates. 4-0. It seems like there are a few different things. First, you should know that a few big companies have decided to put money into Bitcoin ETF. Right now, it's thought that about 80% of those ETF inflows come from regular people. This means that we haven't seen any very big organizations or REITs yet. It's still possible to trade on many sites where the Bitcoin ETF hasn't even been turned on yet for VIP clients. That's why I think seeing some of that happen could be a spark. I also think it would be very important for a national wealth fund to say that they have started to buy Bitcoin, whether it's through ETFs or on the spot market. I believe that President Trump is more in favor of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies than the Biden government is right now since he was elected. Perhaps that will change, but based on what we know now, Trump's victory would be a blow. Finally, to be honest, I think the Federal Reserve is going to have to start making decisions as we get closer to the end of the year. Also, David Rubenstein, one of the founders of Carlyle, recently said that he doesn't think the government will lower interest rates before the election. They don't want to get too involved in politics. A lot of other people think that's why they're going to cut rates to get ready for the election. They think that whatever they do, it will have an effect. So if they cut ahead of time, it's likely to be good for Bitcoin. They should wait to cut until after the election. That will be good at that point. I don't think we've seen the peak of this Bitcoin bull market yet, though. It doesn't matter if it happens in August and September or November and December. It's very possible that we'll go up again sometime in the next 18 months. Over the years, I've met with a lot of different groups. A lot of central banks have met me. State-owned wealth funds have met with me. A lot of my friends have done the same thing. For years, almost 6 or 7 years, it has been very clear that these groups are looking at Bitcoin and the market as a whole. They are trying to figure out what they should do. From a public standpoint, what we know is that there are now a number of nation-states that have begun to, dip their toes in the market. They're getting Bitcoin in El Salvador. A lot of countries are now trying to work together on mining projects. This is what you see in the UAE and other African countries. Some people in the US are even doing it to the point where they use certain power sources to dig. Also, I believe you're beginning to see things in places that people might not think about. some leaders have come out and said that they own these things. So I think that the fact that the government or the people who work for the government own the asset has a real effect on the people and what they do with their money. So I don't think it will be shocking when a national wealth fund says they bought Bitcoin. It's just going to happen. But when it does happen, and which sovereign wealth funds are the first ones to do it, I think it will be a big deal. Central banks all over the world have been watching what the US has done with financial sanctions during the war between Russia and Ukraine. I think that's a very interesting topic to talk about. And I think that the way the US treated Russia and some of their assets has made many central banks around the world think, maybe we should diversify a bit. We might not want to hold US dollars or all of our money in bonds. Do you think we should buy gold? Do you think we should buy Bitcoin? But I think that this kind of sanctions hedge risk is something that people aren't giving much thought to. But it will definitely come up for many of these countries in the months and years to come. If China sells that US debt, to whom do they sell it? When you think about central banks, they don't care much about rates. They don't mind if rates are 2% or 5%. It's an investment for them, so they're buying it. But now they're selling this to buyers who care about rates, like pension funds, institutions, and other groups. So it's great when rates are 5% or 5.5%. They are getting a lot of output. When rates start to go down, though, a lot of those investors will sell their loans because the rate will no longer be appealing to them. I believe the banks will sell. Am I right? It's clear that they have debt right now because it pays over 5%, which is a great rate. They will look for a new place to live when that rate goes down. Rates will go down and risky assets will go up as the market works. You can only see the information we have right now. So far, all of the info has been backed up. I've been saying for years that the US government will not only not ban Bitcoin, but they will also need it. When you look at a lot of the facts, you can see that 2 different presidential administrations have said, we are going to be sympathetic to these assets. Our president has said very clearly that people who hold Bitcoin should vote for him. I'm the guy who supports crypto. I am going to keep this safe. Mining will be safe because of me. There are many problems that can be fixed by mining, but there is also the implicit support of the Biden government, whose regulators have gone ahead and approved a Bitcoin ETF. Now, both sides are saying, hey, Bitcoin is safe. Let's go. But also keep in mind that, if you had to pick one group of people with too much power in this country, it would be those who work in Wall Street traditional banks. And now you have something that can help them make a lot of money. So companies like BlackRock, Fidelity, Franklin Templeton, and others are thinking, wait a minute, we like this stuff, right? There's a chance for us to make money here. We have faith in the tech. We're going to go back it up. It is very, very hard to get away from someone who is deeply rooted in both political parties and in some of the most powerful political donors and people who run the economy, and you will use the rule against it. If you get a regulator or politician who doesn't like these assets, they probably won't get elected or appointed, or they'll be asked to step down quickly because too many people have invested in them already for them to go the other way. And if there's one thing the US does well, it's stick to its plans. We will almost never make clear or unspoken rules and then break them. This is because the rule of law in the United States is so important and people base their business and financial decisions on it. At this point,